Hey everyone, I am Pion and welcome to my release report for Gremlins Inc. I covered this game a few months ago when it entered early access, now it's fully released, so let's take a closer look. What changed, what did not change, and if I would recommend buying it or not. If you're looking for gameplay, however, I would recommend watching my old video, which I will link up there or in the description below, because gameplay did not change, so I'm not gonna spend time explaining and showing that again, because I already did a whole video about that. So let's go talk about things that changed, and let's start with the tutorial. So in the early access version we only had the practice mode, which is basically a match against two pretty dumb computer opponents with some notes and tips in text boxes. And it was okay, but it was not really sufficient to learn all the rules. However, they introduced 3 new lessons which you are supposed to play before the practice thing. They're all fairly short, and they're a little bit more interactive. It's still like a lot of text to read, but it explains the mechanics pretty well, and I think it's a good introduction if you play through all of those 4 things, which should you like. Those take you like 5 minutes, maybe 10. And then the practice matches, well, a whole match can take a little longer. But if you play through all that, you're pretty fond of the rules, and there's no real reason for you to look at the rule book anymore. So that's a good thing, a good improvement in my opinion. Let's talk about, well, we can actually look at the game rules here. That did not change, I think. It's still the same rule book as before. Let's talk about single player, though. So they added more single player content, which is a good thing. Like, there's a custom match against bots, obviously. They introduced a new AI. In the early access version there was only stupid AI. Now we have normal AI as well. Unfortunately, they did not go the full multiple AI route. Like, there was, one of the devs had this idea of having different like AIs with different characters. So one AI that is always going for you, one AI that's always playing evil and stuff like that. Apparently they only could afford to create one extra AI. It's a little bit more clever than the stupid AI, so that's an improvement, but it's not like it. There could be more, I guess, but it's good that way that we got that improvement, obviously, because the stupid AI is pretty stupid, so no challenge at all if we play against that. Then we have a bunch of challenges for a single player. That's a cool idea, I believe. Having a full implemented campaign in the board game is a cool thing to have, but for most games it's kind of hard to pull off because the match will just feel separated and not like belonging together. So going the challenge style route, challenge route, like having challenges instead of a proper campaign, is a decent choice, I believe. The challenges are kind of fun, like some kind of fun. They have different special rules and stuff, so they change up the game a little bit, and different difficulties, and basically they have different like achievements, like how fast you can win it, and you get a best result, so you can improve on that. The big downside here, you cannot play this in offline mode. The game is always connected. If I cut my internet connection now, the game will actually shut down. So if you're planning on playing this game offline while on the train or whatever, I guess you have to look for a different game, which is a shame, because there's no real reason to have the single player be online. So that's a little weird and unfortunate, but it is how it is. Let's take a look at multiplayer. The multiplayer improved quite a bit, so we have the custom sessions as we had in the early access version as well. You can change all the things. You could change in the early access version as well. I don't think there's a new option here. No, that all seems like the same. And there's, however, now a ranked matchmaking queue, actually. I didn't expect them to implement matchmaking, but they did. So if I click this, I will join the queue. Right now there are only 2 people in the queue, because I think it finds matches pretty quickly. I'm not sure how good the matchmaking is. I did not actually try, to be honest, because like, judge that, I would have to play way more games than I want to right now, spending on this title, because there are so many other games I want to cover, so, and I don't have much time right now. But let's stop talking about me and let's continue talking about the game. So they implemented a ranked matchmaking queue, which is a cool thing, and there's like ranking and stuff. Like, we can take a look at the ranking ladder. Like, it has different leagues. It's just basically split up between, like, you have a rating. You start with 100, and if you get higher, you get in a higher league. And in the highest league right now, there are people with 114 score, and the highest league is actually not covered yet. Nobody reached 120 score yet, and there are like a few people down here in the loser league of swindlers, the people with below 95, I believe. Yeah, there we go. So that's the ranking system. Pretty cool that they added that. There's still this tournament thing, but I could not find any real information about this. I guess they will host tournaments from time to time. I would not rely on that, though. There doesn't seem to be a way to host your own tournaments, so that's a little unfortunate. Let's go back to the multiplayer thing. So yeah, that's the lobby. You can take a look at previous sessions. I could not find a button for my recently played games. Or is there one in the profile? I don't think so. Oh yeah, there is actually. Okay, never mind. There's one here in your profile. This is the profile. You got your stats and stuff like that. Then you get your previous sessions, as mentioned. Achievements, recommendations is like recommendation is. And recommended by is like you can recommend other players after a match, and that is what this is about. And this is your rating for this, basically. A number of recommendations received by this player. That's me. Like, okay, that's what? That's a little weird. I imagine this tooltip is wrong. I'm not sure though. And you can go to the Steam. That's not what I wanted. Let's not do that. God damn it. There we go. You can go to the Steam profile to add friends, obviously, for example. So the big important factor for multiplayer, obviously, are there enough players? Well, right now there are. There are actually 200 people online concurrently. That's pretty good for a game like this, for a small indie board game. That's pretty decent. That's more than most multiplayer only or multiplayer focused indie games bring up on launch. So that's pretty promising. I cannot obviously tell you how long this will last, but I guess you will find a few players for the next few weeks at least. If you're watching this later, or if you're unsure how the player base is right now, as always, check it out yourself. Go to Steam Spy or SteamCharts.com and search for Gremlins Inc. and you can see the current player base. So that's always a good thing. But it seems like it's pretty decent right now. So that's a good thing, because this game is very much multiplayer focused. It would be a shame if there would be no players, obviously, because actually, as I mentioned in my old video, the game is actually pretty good in my opinion. It's not amazing, but it's pretty good. Ranking ladder, we had that already. Settings menu, it's okay, it's not brilliant. Like, there's no borderless window mode. There are resolutions options though, and VSync and window mode at least. You can put it to the second monitor. There's no master sound slider. If I have 3 different sound sliders, I prefer, like, 2 is okay, but as soon as I get 3 different sound sliders, I want a master sound slider, because no gets fiddly if I have to change things. And we can turn off emoticon sounds, which is good, because then people cannot spam you, so that's good. Hints, tooltips, high contrast mode, okay, I guess nice to have. And yeah, so the option menu is pretty okay. Nothing major missing in my opinion, except for the borderless window mode, obviously. You have different language, actually. I checked the German translations and it seemed pretty good. I only briefly checked it though. I cannot speak for the other ones, obviously. But it's really easy to switch. I like this. It's a good design decision to have it like right here in the main menu. If you open up the game and it's in the wrong language, you don't have to figure out what the settings mean. What can I change the language in a language you don't understand? Like, say it's in whatever, Japanese, for example. So you can just change it here, so that's really good. And additionally, there's this button in the setting menu where you would expect it. So that's pretty nice design, I believe, menu design. Not a lot of people put a lot of work into menu design, and I think that's a shame, because a good menu is so much more pleasant to use. Well, it depends on how important that menu is, I guess. The Kremlinopedia is all the cards that was in the early access version as well already. I think the explanations got a little better. Like, was this like as detailed as before? I think they improved this interface, but I cannot tell you for 1% right now. And that's pretty much it. So nothing major changed. Well, obviously, the major changes, obviously, like what I wanted to say is nothing major changed in the gameplay. Like, the gameplay was pretty much set in the early access already, which is quite obvious because they designed this board game before they actually implemented the game completely. So that made sense to not change that anymore, because that was already done. They probably did some balancing and stuff, but besides that, the gameplay is the same, and that's okay because the gameplay is pretty solid. So they introduced matchmaking multiplayer, so that's really cool with ranking. And they introduced a little bit more decent single-player content. As I said, the big point lacking here is the offline component for the single-player. I don't know why this is missing. Well, I know why, because they could not be bothered to implement it. It's obviously taking resources to do something like that. But it's a shame that it's not there, especially if the game loses its player base at some point. That would be a shame. There's another thing actually missing. You cannot, like, if they at some point take down the servers, in I don't know how many years, maybe, you never know, then there's no way to play this with your friends over the like direct internet connections or something like that. That's not how you say that correctly technically, but you know what I mean. You need the server. and you need the server to be online, and you need to yourself to be online to play the game. So that's my biggest concern here. But if you're up for board gaming with people on the internet right now, then this is not your worst bet at all. Like, the game is kind of fun. As I mentioned before, I don't think it's an excellent board game, but it's a pretty good one. It's pretty solid. It can be fun for a bunch of rounds, and so that's pretty cool. And I think that's everything I wanted to talk about. Let's not prolong this video unnecessarily. So let's wrap it up here. As I said, if you're into playing this board game with other people on the internet, go for it. The link for the Steam page will be in the description below. I am Pion. Thanks a lot for watching. If you liked or disliked the video, feel free to press the like or dislike button. Have fun and see you next time.